So you're thinking about moving to Idaho Falls, but you're wondering, what is Idaho Falls even about? Well, in this video, we're gonna talk about the pros and the cons of living in Idaho Falls. So without further ado, let's go. I'm gonna start with the cons so that we can end on a positive note. So con number one, you could have guessed it, the weather. Does it snow and does it get as cold as people say it does? Yes and no. If you are used to warm temperatures, moderate temperatures year-round, then you'll have a kind of a little bit of a shock when you move to Idaho Falls because yes, it does get cold. It can get in the negatives and it can be a long winter as well. I'm talking snow, wind, ice, and below freezing temperatures is a common thing here in Idaho Falls. With that said, if you're interested in world-renowned skiing, snowboarding, even just sledding or snowshoeing, we even have a local ski resort here called Kelly Canyon that offers skiing and snowboarding that's great for beginners and advanced skiers and snowboarders as well. So if you're looking for summer and beach year-round, Idaho Falls just isn't it. But if you're looking for a place to ski and snowboard and play in the snow and have a winter wonderland and still have the sun shining, Idaho Falls has definitely got that. Which brings me to pro number one. Idaho Falls actually has all 4 seasons. Believe it or not, you might have only heard that Idaho is just full of snow and wind and cold, which is true for 4, 6, 8 months out of the year it can happen, but the spring is gorgeous. The fall is even better in my opinion with the yellows and the reds and the orange leaves. It's just breathtaking. And then of course, the summers. This is a huge pro and a huge reason why people are moving to Idaho Falls is because the summers are worth it. Living through the snow, even if you're not a big snow person and you're not skiing and snowboarding, etc., the summers make it worth it because you've got community events, fundraisers, you've also have outdoor activities, you've got water activities, the lakes are filled up so you can do all the things that you want to do like boating and fishing. There's also a music scene all summer long, multiple times a week. You can go to an outdoor music event. There's the largest fireworks show for the 4th of July on this side of the Mississippi. We've got the rodeo and so many different events that you don't want to miss that really makes the summer such a fun time to be here. Con number 2. It's a small town here. So if you're used to crowded cities and a lot of traffic and smog, and you're used to that kind of comfort level, that hustle and bustle and that energy, the cities that never sleep, it is the opposite here in Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls does go to sleep. It shuts down on Sundays and late at night. You have 60,000 people here, so it is a smaller population, and so there are fewer things to do, fewer things to see. The tallest building, I believe, is the hospital, and I think it's only 6 floors, maybe 5. So there's not that cityscape that you might be used to in other bigger cities. And so it is a small town, and with that, it's a small community. And with that small community, people can be very opinionated. They want to keep it small. They don't want their small town to change. They don't want to be a big city. And so there might be a lack of innovation or a desire to change because they love the space, the less traffic, the country life, the slowness. They don't want it to be a bigger town. And so there's that when it comes to moving here. It could be quite different than some of the cities that you may be moving from. Which brings me to pro number 2, is that it's a small town. I think it's great that it's a small town because a town that sleeps, a town that shuts down means it's a town that rests and rejuvenates. And it also means that the community here is tight-knit. So even though they don't want to grow, we're growing anyway, and we want to help people do that. So when you're bringing in a business, they want to support these local businesses. We've got farmers markets and other businesses that come in. We also have big companies here like the International Laboratory and Melaleuca, and Amazon is coming here. So it is growing and the community is embracing it. And at the same time, if there is someone in need, the community comes together. I cannot count how many times people have lost a dog or lost keys or lost a credit card, and those things are returned honestly without anything missing people post on the Facebook groups of Life at Idaho Falls and they'll say, I'm missing my dog, and the whole community's out looking for it. And that's the type of feel that you have here. It's a very service-oriented community. And so with the small town, you get the people with big hearts that are willing to come together, help one another out, really be a neighbor, and really support one another as well. Con number 3. We're kind of on this same path about it being a small town, which means there's not a lot to do here in Idaho Falls, especially if you're coming from Salt Lake City, Denver, San Francisco, New York City, Chicago, any of these bigger cities, even bigger cities like Dallas and Houston. There's a lot more variety of things to do in those cities. Whereas Idaho Falls, we have all the normal things: movie theaters, indoor rock climbing, escape room, bowling alleys, the parks, the recreation, the swimming pools, great schools. There are things to do here, but there's not as much of a variety as you would find in those other cities or states that I had mentioned. And so some people have a hard time with that because they feel like the options are slim. We only have 2 movie theaters, we don't have 7, and we have 2 bowling alleys, we don't have more than that. And so the options are a lot smaller, and things do shut down on a Sunday. So on a Sunday, if you're looking to go out with your friends, a lot of things are closed. So something to keep in mind, that when you move here, a con could be that there's not a lot to do when you want to do it. Pro number 3. The third pro is the outdoors life and the opportunity to see world famous national parks. I'm talking about Yellowstone, Grand Targhee, the Tetons. The Tetons are just a short drive away, which people travel from all over the world to see these parks. And you're right in this center hub to see all these different places. You're really close to dozens, if not hundreds, hot springs here in eastern Idaho. We have skiing and fishing. We're known for our fly fishing, and we've got lakes and rivers, big and small, all over, waterfalls as well, to kayak, ski, just swim, just cool off. We've got the Gem Lake, which is just a few minutes from Idaho Falls, that you can take your kids. You can even go and swim in it and kayak and fish all right here, right in town. And then you could travel a little bit north to Rigby and go in Jefferson County Lake. Not too far from Rigby is the Palisades and the Palisades Reservoir, which is beautiful, and you're out of town and you can stay in Swan Valley and eat square ice cream. And there's bike paths and hiking. There's so much to do outdoors. So if you enjoy being outdoors, there's also hunting. I forgot about hunting. A lot of people hunt out here, which could be a pro, could be a con, depending on who you ask. But there's a lot to do here on the outdoor side of things. So if you're into that, then Idaho Falls is the perfect place to be, because not only do we have those things right in town, we're just a short drive away from other places as well that offer those opportunities that people travel from the entire world to see. Con number 4. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it's wildlife. This might be a pro for some, for those who like to view wildlife, to hunt, who just love that country feel of having wildlife in their backyard. But a lot of people see that as a con because there are deer in people's backyard. Sometimes moose will travel into the subdivisions, especially if you're closer to the hills or the countryside by Ryrie and Rigby. But even right here in Idaho Falls, here's downtown, just south of here where all the hills are, you will have deer, moose, sometimes even elk, sometimes a cougar every once in a while, right in your front yard. And some people say that they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with the droppings of these animals, or they don't want to deal with the danger of these animals as well. And that very much is a reality here. If you do move here, it is a little bit more country. We're right by Yellowstone, like I said. We've got the hills and the cooler temperatures and water everywhere, so it makes it a really great place for wildlife to be. Pro number 4, the culture here in Idaho Falls is live and let live. And some people love it and some people don't love it because it is a very lax community. They really just want their freedoms. They want to live the way they want to live without other people interfering. It is a conservative town, and the people here, they care about God, guns, and freedom. This is a big part of the culture here. So if that resonates with you, Idaho Falls might be perfect for you. Sometimes I like to think about it as the cold Texas. It definitely has that conservative, country, low-key, free-flowing feel that other states might not have. More liberal states or bigger cities just have a different kind of culture. And so that's a big pro of why people are moving here, is just that freedom to live as you will and not have other people interfere too much. Con number 5. If you're a foodie like me, I'm gonna warn you now that there's not a huge variety in food and not a lot of opportunities for organic foods. There is a Costco and there is a Natural Grocers, so we get a lot of our organic foods and filtered water at those places, but there's no Whole Foods, there's not a Sprouts, there's not even a Trader Joe's, which we've been putting on the petition to bring a Trader Joe's. There's not those types of grocery stores here, and we do have some types of restaurants that are not just American food. We've got Mexican restaurants, we have Indian food restaurants, Thai food restaurants, Chinese. We do have some variety, but if you're used to being a foodie and trying out a new restaurant every single weekend in a bigger city that's food you've never tasted before from countries you've never heard of, that's not something that you would find here in Idaho Falls. With that said, the Indian food restaurant, Tandoori Oven, is amazing. So when you do come, check that out. Pro number 5 is the cost of living. I'm talking housing, groceries, utilities, gas. Those are all significantly lower here in Idaho Falls than in our surrounding states like California, Oregon, even Utah, who is another conservative state, but the cost of living there is higher. So if you're moving from, let's say, California, and you have a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom house that's selling for $750,000, you could find a very decent 4-bedroom, 2-bath home for around $400,000, and in some cases less here in Idaho Falls. So you can see there's quite a big difference in the cost of living in regards to housing. Utilities are also less because we have multiple ways to keep electricity lower. We've got the wind power, hydropower from the river, nuclear power, so lots of different opportunities here to keep costs low because of the way that we provide power to the city, as well as water. A lot of subdivisions in Idaho Falls are on a well, or they have a creek in their backyard, which gives them water rights, and they could water their lawns for a lot less than using city water. So just an example of why people are moving here to Idaho Falls. Well, there you have it. That was 5 pros and 5 cons of living in Idaho Falls. So if you have any more questions or if you have anything to add, go ahead and comment below or give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'd be happy to chat with you about more things about Idaho Falls if you need clarification, or if you're thinking, yeah, that sounds great, then go ahead and get a hold of me and I'll be happy to help. All right, we'll see you next time. If you're new to my channel and you want to know all there is to know about life in Idaho Falls, I'm talking the good, the bad, the weird, the weather, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know about all things Idaho Falls.